Hello and welcome to the Cardiac Cats YouTube channel. It's finally over. Oh my gosh. We sit here at the watch overtime. The season's done. There's nothing to play for. And it's over. Finally. Jacksonville Jaguars losing week 18 of the regular season to the Indianapolis Colts on the road. They will fall to 4-13 on the season. So, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about where things finally stand now that things have settled down. We're going to take a look at the draft order, not just where Jacksonville is either, because there is another conversation to have there. But we'll start with this game. So this game, just complete chaos, honestly, just never ending. Really close matchup the whole way through. Brian Thomas Jr., huge game, 100-plus yards today. He's going to finish the year with over 1,200, so huge season from him. Love to see it. Aside from that, it's a lot of the same things we've seen every single week. You've got no running back over 40 yards today. You have a solid performance from Mac Jones as a backup. Good to see. Wasn't perfect, but played fine. Sorry, I'm still sick. Brendan Strange, solid game here, 4 receptions, 60 yards. And, outside of that, not a whole ton to note. Parker Washington had a pretty nice touchdown in this game, too. But, yeah, want to also, give a shout-out to Trayvon Walker here. I believe he got to 10 sacks on the season. So, big for him if he did. I don't know if he did. I think he did, but he was really close before this game. So, another good season from him. You love to see that. But yeah, just I don't know, man. It's hard to tune into this one and really have paid a lot of attention. I'm not going to lie. We want this season to be over with. And finally it is. There are no more games to be played, and we're going to finally see the direction of this franchise going forward. But ultimately, I think those are the things to note, kind of what we've seen. Brian Thomas Jr. being dominant, no run game, and Mac Jones playing solid football, and I think he, proved he got better over the course of the season, and we'll see now if maybe he gets a shot with their team next year, or maybe he returns to Jacksonville. We'll have to see what happens. Now, we got to talk, most importantly here, about how things are going to look going forward. So, we obviously had our video a day or two ago talking about all the discussions around the future of this team, who's going to be the head coach, who's going to be the GM, or is anyone going to get fired, to start, because everyone's still got their job. We have so far had everything point to there being a full cleaning. That means head coach, GM, and all of the assistants. So this should be a clean reset. Whether that comes tonight or tomorrow, we'll have to see. Most likely it'll come tomorrow, but we'll be here for it and be able to talk about it. The Jaguars have been linked very heavily to Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen, which is great news, at least in my opinion, because I think you want to get a young offensive mind in here, and those are arguably the two best young offensive minds right now. So there's some really exciting stuff going on there. There's reports from, guys who, I can't remember the guy's name, but going on 1010 XL talking about how he's friends with Mark Brunell, and Brunell's telling him that he and Ben Johnson want to come to Jacksonville. Hearing things like that, it's really exciting. And so now that's really where this focus is going to transition to. But the other side of this is talking about the draft situation for the Jaguars. Now, we'll go to Tankathon, and you'll see that it has completely crashed because everyone's loading it. So we'll do this the manual way. So this is NFL Playoff Predictor. I'll just update this really quick to make sure everything's completely done. The only result of the games that have been going on that is not complete is Carolina and Atlanta. This is an incredible game right now. Even if Carolina lost this game to the Falcons, they are not going to pick above Jacksonville because of strength of schedule. So, with that said, regardless of how this goes, which I think Carolina is going to win this, it really feels like it. Bryce Young's on fire today. Jacksonville is slated to pick 5th in the draft. Most likely, the way this plays out, at least the way I'm thinking it will, you're probably, well, I'll note this first, right? Tennessee Titans first overall. Big conversation to be had there. Because last week, we made it pretty clear before the game that this was going to have a huge impact on the future of the AFC South, because either Jacksonville was going to lose that game and have a shot to have the first overall pick, or at least be in position where they should get Travis Hunter, and the Titans would be knocked out to where they're not going to get anyone they want, at least at quarterback, to the other result, which happened, was Tennessee losing that game, them having a shot at the first overall pick, and Jacksonville getting knocked back to where they're not going to get Hunter. They're still going to have a shot at a really good football player, but Tennessee is going to be in a better position and be able to get what they believe will be their franchise quarterback. Now, obviously, that's how things played out. Tennessee, because of a New England win today, which we kind of thought this was coming for a few weeks. We've talked about it because we've obviously been following this tank for the Jaguars. And if the Jaguars had lost out before this, or at least just not swept the Titans, because they could have only lost one of those games, they would have been first overall in the draft. We were that close to that. And both those games really came down to the wire. So that's pretty big. That's going to have, I think, titanic results, or a titanic impact on the future of the AFC South. And it's got to be noted that you never know exactly how these things are going to turn out. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that works to the Titans' advantage, right? Because for Tennessee, you could come into this draft, take a quarterback you believe in, and they could end up not working out, right? They say that they get Shedeur Sanders, and Sanders is, you hear comps like Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe he turns out to be that type of player, just a solid starter, and they kind of get stuck with that, and they don't really do anything for a long time. Maybe this actually works out better, because maybe Tennessee instead, if they hadn't got that quarterback, whoever it is, maybe they're sitting here next year getting a better player, because they once again have a bad season because they don't have that quarterback. You never know how these things play out. Maybe Jacksonville gets a better player picking later. You never know. Last year, we traded down and we got Brian Thomas Jr., who is undoubtedly one of the best players from that draft class. So you really don't know at the end of the day, but ultimately, the more draft capital you have to work with, the better for your team. So, the opportunity is definitely better for Tennessee because of that. But the way this sits, it's a really interesting situation. And I think, while I say that, I feel like it's going to be very cut and dry what Jacksonville's going to do unless the head coach comes in and says, maybe we want to prioritize this position first and foremost, or maybe I see this player that I love that I can't pass on. Say you get in Ben Johnson, he says, I love Ashton Genty. I need my running back to solidify this backfield, and he moves down a few spots and he gets that guy. That's always possible, but I think with the way things sit, even if Drew Aller declares or doesn't declare, you're going to have two quarterbacks up here. You're going to have Travis Hunter most likely to the Patriots, and then the Giants going to take someone else. I don't think it's going to be Will Johnson. I think it'd be a different player. So most likely, you're sitting here with Will Johnson as the obvious choice for Jacksonville at pick number 5. That's how I would guess right now that it's going to play out. And we'll have to see, because we really don't know. But this is where they're going to pick. I think it fits pretty well for how their season went. It makes sense. And it's not too shocking for how bad it was. They came very close, obviously, to picking first overall. But, ultimately, this really came down to just how bad the Tennessee Titans were this year. And Tennessee, just an absolutely atrocious team at the end of the day. Nothing you could do about that. So, yeah, that's where we sit, guys. It's going to be a really fun draft, I think, because you're going to have a lot of options still up there, even if it feels obvious that, maybe this is just the Will Johnson pick and that's what they do. It's going to be a fun offseason because you got a high pick. You're going to have new leadership. There's going to be reason for hope, we believe. And all we're waiting on is just probably get to tomorrow, listen to whatever Ian Rappaport says, and hopefully it's a clean sweep. It should be a clean sweep. There's no reason that all these people would stick around. So it should be over, guys. We're right there at the finish line. We just got to wait another day. So see if Tankathon's not going to work. All right. Yeah, we'll call it good there. We'll hopefully have a lot of content this week. It's sort of a weird week for me. I'm still a little sick. We're also getting tons of snow here where I live in Missouri, so hoping not to have to go shovel when news drops, and then just got some stuff going on outside of that. So I'll try to have a lot of content out. We got a lot to talk about. I would like to have our Fixing the Jaguars episode out this week, just talking about what I would do this offseason, give you an overview of really what things could look like. But we'll have a lot of things coming out. We'll be talking about head coaches, GMs, hopefully, and all that stuff. But I appreciate you all watching. Want to shout out our channel members, Premier Seer 904, Mr. Dolphin, Scrubber Ducky 500, and Brian Foster. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Appreciate you guys watching. Let me know, any thoughts you have on this game or the season, or just a sigh of relief that's finally over. But we'll see you in the next one, which should be out very soon. So appreciate it. And finally, go Jags.